Okay. Welcome to 4844 call number 25. So I guess the main things to chat about today are just the devnets. I don't think there were any significant spec updates. I don't know if I'm wrong. This is the time to bring it up, but nothing as far as I could see.
Yeah, we did release consensus specs last week that have the entire fork build, but that's not the target for DevNet 7, as I think discussed, and we'll talk about it again on the call, the consensus layer call. But if you're sincerely looking at that for the DevNet 7, you should still target the previous release, but you should probably start parallelizing building out the other 3 features that are going into DNEM.
Right. Actually, yeah, this is, and then Alex has a comment as well about the precompile address. So just, I guess, to reiterate, so DevNet 7, we agreed on all core devs would be basically just a reboot of DevNet 6 with hopefully the Hive test passing. And and so this would not include the precompile address change. Yeah, 6 is just dead. I don't know if it's dead right now. Does anyone have an update on it?
So 6 is kind of finalizing, but with like an unfair distribution of keys. It's like,
yeah.
I know there's a lot of work to keep it finalized.
Perry's manually signing.
That's what I've been doing all weekend now.
Yeah. So I know Barnabas had this DevNet 6 spec. I don't have edit access. I don't know, Perry, if you do, but maybe we should just rename this doc to say DevNet 6+7.
Yep.
And I think all the stuff we had as PR candidates for DevNet 7 should probably be candidates for DevNet 8. And the one thing we should add alongside that is the precompile address change.
And are you implying we are likely to do another 4844 DevNet for DevNet 8, or it might be full feature, but it would probably have those? It would definitely have like the PR candidates in there as well.
I'm not sure. Yeah, curious to hear from client teams, but it felt like DevNet 6 didn't go super well, and so I don't know if we want to have like, yeah, DevNet 7 be just a rerun, or also have DevNet 8 just focus on 4844.
I would like DevNet 7 to be just a rerun.
Yeah,
and
but I guess we don't need to talk about 8.
DevNet 8. I don't know. Kind of depends on how DevNet 7 goes, in my opinion.
Alexa, you had...
I'd say we keep doing this until we have like 4844 nailed down.
Yeah, I think I agree. Introducing other complexity at this point seems crazy.
Alexa, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, guys. Just wanted to say that probably precompile address changes are not so complex and could be included too. It will allow a QA to react and to update tests with new addresses and so on. It might be cool to have too this update. I mean, precompile update and probably update for G1, G2 operations, which in conflict with this precompile address.
Oh, yeah. What's the compile update? Sorry, what do you mean about that specifically? The
precompile address.
Precompile. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Sorry, yeah. The mic becomes too big. Okay, so yeah, precompile update should be in DevNet 8, basically. Yeah. Enrico?
Yeah, I just want to say that in tech we are working directly on master branch, so we are kind of okay to relaunch then DevNet 7 with the same characteristic of DevNet 6, because actually if there is something to fix, we could branch from previous commits if really want to do some hotfix. But then on DevNet 8, we definitely would like to have per alignment in what is inside the current DNAB merge spec. Otherwise, we are too much disaligned with the master spec, because we want to start to implementing stuff, and the master branch will not support another run of DevNet 8 with a non-aligned spec.
So I guess fortunately 1744 and 1745 are not cross-layer. If we got to the point where the consensus layer had beacon root, whatever that 4788 implemented, it could still be a no op on the execution layer, because the only thing that EIP does is pass it in. So we do have some optionality in if people are in the position of wanting to get those couple of features in, even if the execution layer is not in accordance. So I guess we'll just kind of have to keep talking about it. But it's good to know that that is important to y'all.
I guess, yeah, before we move on, okay, oh, there already has a new doc. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I couldn't rename it, so I just copied over the contents.
okay, got it. Okay, so let's see how DevNet 7 goes this week. I assume, I guess, is this a realistic timeline to launch it sometime in the next week or so?
I think so. It looks like Geth and Nethermind are already passing tests. I just haven't had a chance to run it against Aragon and Bezu. But if they do as well, then we're good to go. Their last message from Mario was that there's no CL engine API tests yet. It's only EL engine API tests. So I guess we'll have to wing the CL side.
Got it. And then one other thing that came up, I don't know if this came up on Awkward Devs or where it bubbled up from, but there's a conversation. So we discussed having basically JSON RPC support for what was DevNet 7 and now would probably be DevNet 8. And one thing that came up as part of that was making sure that like APIs generally work well for the users of blobs, so like L2s. So I don't know, Matt's not on the call, but he brought this up. But I guess that's something that would be good to do in the next couple of weeks. Just thinking through, like, is this do we have a JSON RPC scheme that's like useful for L2s to submit blob and sort of interact with 4844? And I guess Roberto, from the, maybe that's something that like the base team could like share thoughts on, because you all be users. Like, what would the correct APIs look like for you to interact with this? And yeah, in parallel we can reach out potentially to some other L2s to get some feedback.
Yeah, that's something we can try to provide input on. I don't think we've thought it through very far yet, but we can certainly spend some time on it. Right.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has. So I think it's probably, as we get the consensus side of things stabilized, that's probably the next thing we want, so that yeah, we make sure that it all makes sense. Yeah, that's pretty much all we had on the agenda. I don't know if there's anything else people wanted to chat about.
So on the Lighthouse side, we've had a couple of pain points with the CKCG lib. So I was just wondering about a couple of open PRs there. one of which is to allow us to compile the mainnet and minimal versions of the library and like use them both at the same time, that's really useful in our testing. So yeah, it's I guess I was wondering the status, if anyone has any status on that, or the likelihood of the PR I just linked in the chat getting merged. Yeah, I don't think George is on the call, and he might know, so I could try to find him offline.
And that was the biggest blocker. You mentioned a couple PRs, but is that one the biggest blocker for Sigma?
See, this is the biggest one. There's also another open PR about like the CKZG with Windows, which we're also gonna have to sort out at some point.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there are many people from CKZG on the call, but we can definitely flag this to them. Yeah, async. Anything else?
Yeah,
Yes.
I want to know.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I would want to know when can we expect the real trusted setup to be baked in from the ceremony?
So I know Carl and Trent are working on a blog post this week that will give information about the trusted ceremony wrapping up and the date that it will wrap up. So then we'll have it at that point. I don't know if that's, you know, plus 2 weeks or plus 6 weeks from now, but it is certainly in the process. It's shifting into the ending process. So should be some information soon.
So Maris, you were saying something as well?
Yes. So if you're passing Hive today, your transaction pool implementation is actually wrong, or at least has some issues. So there are 2 bugs in the Hive tests right now. One is in the suit that does the transaction replacement. So in this suit, you send a few transactions, and you can replace other transactions. The problem is that only the gas price is increased, not the data gas price. So that opens up a few attacks that you can do by replacing blob transactions. And the other test that is broken is the one that the multiple, like the transaction propagation one. In this test, also the gas price, one gas price needs to be adjusted. Basically, the idea behind this test is you send 5 transactions with 5 blobs each to one node and 5 transactions with 1 blob each to the other node, and then you should produce five blocks with 6 blobs each, so 1 transaction from each node. The problem is that the transactions are priced the same, and so it could be that you're building like a block with 1 or 2 or 5 1 blob transactions instead of doing this like 5 plus 1 blob transactions. So the test is going to be changed But that's not really an issue in the implementations because the transactions are priced the same, so they should be okay to be put in. But they, like, clients might non-deterministically fail this check, as Geth did, because there was no order between. There's basically no order between those transactions that are priced the same. So yeah, but the replacement one, that is something that clients should look at into in their transaction pool implementation. It's fine for you if you want to allow data gas replacement transactions with the same data gas, but I think it's bad because it can introduce quite a lot of churn. That's it.
Thanks. Anyone have thoughts, comments?
I think I can add some more context to why the test was written like that. So the idea was that since the data gas price doesn't really affect the miner or the profit in any way that the miner could receive, so the idea was that the data gas can be the same and it wouldn't matter to the miner. But yeah, as Mary said, I guess it depends on the logic that you're applying to the replacement. So I think it should be discussed. I can just change the test if that's okay, but I think it should be discussed on regards what to do or which transactions to replace. Yeah.
Got it. Anything else? I guess, yeah, anything else just in general around 4844? Okay. Yeah, I guess it makes sense to keep probably a couple more of these calls, but and see how they go. But I think if they become shorter and shorter, and we obviously cover a lot of this stuff in Awkward Devs, maybe I don't know, in the next month or so, we can start phasing them out. Probably makes sense to do that, like once we start moving from 4844 exclusive DevNets to like full Dencun DevNets. But yeah, I would at least keep the one 2 weeks from now. Any final comments before we wrap up?
Am I running that call?
Yeah, you are in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if we do a really good job, I won't have to run one in 4 weeks. So let's see how it goes. Cool. Well, thanks everyone. Talk to you all soon.
Thanks, bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
See you guys.